Hi everybody, and welcome to another video of vintage TV and radio stuff. We're going to be talking about boomboxes in today's video. I've got a couple to show you. Both are Panasonics, both from the 80s, back when boomboxes and ghetto blasters were all the craze. This is the model RX-4955 from Panasonic, made back around 1983. Compared to other boomboxes, it's kind of a minimalist type of a setup. You got your 4 speakers, you got a cassette deck, you got an AM/FM radio, and on the top you've got the controls here, which will include your tone control, balance control, volume, the standard cassette deck, the power off or the tape, and then the radio, and then your AM or FM band selector. So it's pretty simple, really, and as you can see, the balance knob is missing, but of course you can always pull the knob off and move it to the balance if you want, and put it back on the tone to select your balance. The only thing on the right side is the tuner. Here on the back is where the batteries go, and in this particular case it needs 6 D-cell batteries. Also some basic info about the radio. Unfortunately, the batteries that were in this particular one were extremely corroded, and it would probably take a little bit of extra work to get the battery terminals back into shape. But the power cord did come with it, so that's a good thing. Here you got your AC power in headphone jack for 1/4-inch headphones, and then you got 2 mini plugs for your left and right microphones, which is kind of interesting. And you'll also notice on the front there is actually a microphone here and here as well. So you could obviously record your voice. I'm assuming you could record off of the radio too. Unfortunately, the cassette itself does not work. We're just going to listen to the radio part right now and see how the radio part sounds. Alright, so I got the antenna up pretty high. We're going to put it on to radio. It's on FM, and just kind of go through the dial and see what we get here.
Coliseum at Tomahawk Furniture, going on.
Bremen Merrill Ford is growing.
Morning coffee. Country 97.3 WHD.
35 years Anago's Lakeland Furniture and Mattress is closing its doors. Now save even more with huge discounts on the lowest marked sale.
So, volume-wise, it can crank it out pretty good.
All must be sold. Plus, save even more with a truckload mattress sale by Spring Air and Restonic. Free financing with approved credit to qualified buyers. It's the Anago Lakeland Furniture and Mattress going on a business sale. Anago.
So I can see where this would be, you know, a pretty nice sounding radio and tape deck. You can crank the volume up pretty high in this thing.
Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection.
And that's about as loud as it gets, and that's obviously rather distorted sounding.
Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver.
All right, well, that's just a sample of what this boombox sounds like. So that's the Panasonic RX-4955. I bought this at a Goodwill and took it home and everything, and I was going to feature just this particular boombox on the video, but then it dawned on me that there's another boombox right here in the house that I've always had for a number of months now, and it actually belonged to my parents, who probably bought it back in the mid-'80s. And no, they did not march down the street with their hip-hop music blaring, but they used it for a radio and probably to play more classical type music than anything else. So let's I'll get this out of the way, and then I'll bring out this next boombox for you. All right, this is the RX-4050 from Panasonic. This was, I believe, produced and sold back in the mid-'80s, so it was an upgrade, if you will, from the previous models that Panasonic came out with. And just from the outset, you can see it's probably a little more bells and whistles oriented. You might want to call this the Cadillac of boombox compared to the Ford or Chevy that I showed you earlier. So as you look at the front, there are actually only 2 speakers, but I'm assuming it's probably more of a full range speaker. You see a microphone on both sides. Now you have a level, tuning level, battery level indicator, and also your AM/FM radio. On the top, things look about the same from the left. The tone, balance, and volume controls are all there. Same thing with your cassette controls. Nothing different there. There's the tape or off selector radio, and then something called sleep. And I'm assuming that means you can probably set this to go off after a certain point or go on. Then there's a mic on, input line, play, mix, off, etc., etc. You can go from mono to stereo mode with the beat proof function, band selector, and then you have your meter selector, either the level or the tuning and battery levels. And like the first boombox, the right side, as you look at it, just has the tuning knob. Here's the plate in the back showing you the model number and etc., etc., made in Japan. So you can see this was made quite a few years ago. This radio also takes a total of 60 cell batteries in that compartment below right there. And once again, here's a reference of the Cadillac-ness of this particular boombox. Unlike the other one where you just had a mic input, this has the mic input, line in, line out, and an external speaker, headphones, and all the kinds of other fun things that you can do with this. And looky here, there's even a tape counter on the cassette deck. That's pretty impressive. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn this one on and see what we get. Ooh, scratchiness is what we get. Yeah, this particular radio has got some scratchy pots, but it'll be okay. You put the antenna up a little bit so you can get a little more. And also notice kind of a hum here, which is interesting.
Required.
I'm not going to go linger on music too long.
You are an
YouTube doesn't like that. But you can see the FM stereo light comes on.
Livewire is brought to you in part
And,
by Alaska
your
Airlines. Alaska Airlines offers the most non-stops from the West Coast, including destinations
tuning
like Hawaii,
level.
Palm Springs, and San Francisco.
Or
and as a member of
your
the One World
recording
Alliance,
level
Alaska Airlines
or audio
can connect
level.
you to more than 1,000 destinations
Which is kinda
worldwide
cool.
with their City of
Ministries.com or call Jane.
Plus, this tuner seems to be a lot
So the
more
actual staying together,
sensitive. As is this pot, very
to
sensitive.
stay together until there's a call from the
There's
big
the
team
balance,
to Oregon and Washington and Stanford
your
to
tone.
leave, right? Like they're unified right now.
And etc., etc. Yeah, you definitely want to take care of that. That's for sure. This is a pretty nice radio, except for this volume control here. Okay, so that's the radio part of it. Let me get a cassette, and we'll pop it in there and see if that works. Okay, I'm back. Let's go ahead and eject. Put this cassette in. This is something from Led Zeppelin. We're going to play like about 2 seconds of it. Alright. I'm assuming that the deck is probably running a little slow. And, That's to be expected from a machine that goes back to 1985, but at least it plays, and I think it rewinds. Yep, stuff like that. So that's a good thing. We can live with that. And where's the stop? There it is. Okay. So that works. Let's go ahead and put a blank tape in here now and see if we can't record something on this. All right, blank tape. In she goes. Now I'm going to set the top thing here for a mic. And like I said, there's microphones here and here. I'll hit the record and hit this so we know where we're at, I think. There we go. And we'll talk into the boombox and see if we can hear ourselves. And as you can see, the level is measuring that it is receiving my voice, and hopefully it's recording it. So let's go ahead and hit stop. And rewind this a little bit. And yeah, here we go. Let's see what happens. And we'll talk into the boombox and see if we can hear ourselves. And as you can see, the level is measuring that it is receiving my voice, and hopefully it's recording it. So let's go ahead. Well, there you go. Look at that. Nice job, Panasonic Model 4050. One more test before we go. I'm going to turn the radio back on. And turn it on something that isn't music.
Aspen Berkeley,
and then,
along with UCLA, that has an effect on the entire UC system.
But they're still in this UC system, though, right?
Yeah, but they're in the UC. But all that money that comes in from athletics,
because
you know
let's face it,
about here, the reason that these big time,
if you want a boombox like this, you want it so you can record off the radio and get your favorite songs on cassette. Okay.
It has an effect on the
there you are.
UC system.
But they're still in the.
See how simple that is? Yeah, this is actually pretty nice. All you have to do is kind of clean up this volume knob, and we've got a nice boombox from back in the 80s. You've been looking at the RX-4955 and the RX-5040, both from Panasonic. I got the first one at a Goodwill for about $8. Don't know if it's quite worth it, to be honest with you, but it's kind of cool. This is priceless because it didn't cost me a thing, because I got it from my mom. So there you go. That's our look at some vintage TV and radio stuff for this time around. If you have any comments, leave them below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll have more down the road. Thanks for watching.